I was faking it. I was acting calm. And then I was being given way too much stress that I couldn't really handle. And then I was making myself act calm even on my own. It started very young for me, this behaviour. And I remember when I was about 11 years old. This is a little bit triggery, so you could skip to the next chapter if you don't want to hear a story about a childhood event of mine. I was 11 and I was on the train with some school friends. We were going to school, so it was very early. It was like 8 in the morning. I don't know why I feel like it's inappropriate for bad things to happen early in the morning. Only bad things happen late at night in my mind. So at 8 in the morning, a couple of guys got on the train and we were like 4 11-year-old girls, and they approached us and asked for our jewels and our belongings. And all the girls handed over their rings, their bracelets and all their stuff. And I put my hands in my pockets and said no, for some reason. And so they became violent, and then they took all the rings and the jewels. And the next thing that happened was my friends started crying, and I pulled the emergency cord on the train. And the train stopped between 2 stations, so it was difficult to get off. But I got off and I ran down the track and I went and found the train guard and said, "We've been robbed, call the police." And they called the police, and the police came, and because the train was stuck between stations, the guys didn't go anywhere, and they were arrested. And a few months later, we were given back all our jewellery. But the other girls were terribly, terribly upset. And I was cold and calm throughout. No matter what happened, I actually had a very calm demeanour. And at school, I was given a medal for bravery. And the other children, the other girls, were arranging a carpool with their families. The parents all phoned around the families saying, "We'll take it in turns and we'll drive the kids to school now," because they didn't want their kids getting on the train because it was very scary and all the girls were terrified. And my mother said, "No, she's getting back on the train tomorrow." So I then continued to go to school on the train, now on my own because the other girls weren't there, every day. And I felt calm. Now, if we look at an 11-year-old child who doesn't react to a huge trauma like that, being attacked, having their things taken, they just don't get any reaction at all, and they don't seem to have a fear response, then we're going to have a lot of questions about that child, because are they over to the side of, being a sociopath who feels nothing, or is it all repressed? Is it they can't feel anything? This is how they cope, because it's been going on for a long time. So in me, it was all repressed, and it had been going on for so long. By the time I was 11, I just wouldn't react to things. There would be no reaction. And it wasn't that I was even hiding it from the world. I didn't feel it. If anyone said to me, "How you doing?" I'd say, "Fine." Because as far as I knew, I was fine. I just felt the same as the day before. So for me, that's what I thought fine felt like. But fine was a feeling of disconnection, a feeling of emptiness, a feeling of low-grade sadness, a feeling of being strange and not like other people. Always feeling like I was behind glass. That was the way that I felt, like I was behind glass, completely separated from the world. It's called functional freeze. So we're functioning, but actually everything inside is frozen. But it's totally connected to the concept of calm, because that's not what we want to aim for anymore. But if we've spent a whole lifetime in functional freeze, naturally, choosing to calm ourselves down as a survival mechanism, then of course when we hear about it again in this healing world and people are saying, "Oh, you mustn't get into fear and panic about your symptoms," or, "You've got to calm down," then we go into that state. We go into a freeze state, a functional freeze, and we think we're doing the right thing. We think we're doing what they've told us to do because now I do feel calm. So there's something very different to the feeling you get after you release emotions, after you settle yourself, and then you get to a feeling of calmness that's different. It's grounded, it feels nourished, you'll feel resourced in your body, and you feel connected. So that emptiness, that feeling of being behind glass or disconnect, is a signal that this is not the calm we are looking for. The calm we are looking for might even feel a bit like, heavy in the body, almost slumped. Tiredness might come because we've been in so much stress energy. It's a different body sensation, and it's one where you feel your body. Very often when we're not connected, we're not feeling the body at all. This whole thing of like stopping, it's like you're trying to put a clamp onto your whole system. And I was doing that. I was trying to get myself into a calm state always. And it meant that I kind of went numb. I had that functional freeze, and my pain and symptoms didn't get better at all. I was trying so hard to do that over a period of years, and I was gonna say it didn't help me heal, but I think it might have made me worse. I think it might have made my symptoms a lot worse because I didn't face any fears and I didn't connect to my real emotions. And as a human being, I'm designed to feel the full range of emotions. I'm designed to feel fear for a reason. The reason that we have fear in our programming is to help us run away from scary things so we can live. And the reason we have other feelings and emotions is for similar reasons. They are useful in our lives. They are signals and messages for us. And we need to experience them. So the more I didn't experience my natural emotions and the information that I needed from inside me, the more I stayed numb and the more I kept my pain and symptoms. And it took me a long time to learn that there was another way, and that in fact we have to turn towards the emotions. And if we release the emotions and the stresses, we will actually end up feeling a more natural state of calm, or a more natural regulation where it's in and out of calm, in and out of different states. And here's the thing, it worked. For years and years and years, I felt that that was a good strategy. And it let me do my job. When I say it worked, what I meant was, it meant I could function. I could do my job. I could be a mum. I could handle huge amounts of pressure. I could earn enough money for me and my son. I could keep it together. I could sleep at night. And what I didn't realize then, and I realize now, is I had terrible back pain. I had terrible gut issues. I had terrible anxiety. I had no boundaries. I had no way of being kind to myself. And I didn't know there was any connection between these things. So I thought, I'm doing good. I'm a success. I'm achieving. I'm a calm, rational person. I'm not one of these people who loses their mind with emotions, who becomes irrational. You know, I was very critical of how that looked, because it had been criticized in my family when I was young. It wasn't allowed to have those emotions. There was no space for anyone to do that. And I think that's true in most families. We call it the terrible twos. When little children start kicking off and getting angry and demanding their way, we say it's a bad thing. We say they're being terrible. Whereas it's a very healthy, natural part of growth that children need to be allowed to go through. So parenting guidelines are really changing. You know, this modern approach is adapting. I don't think any little children are being punished these days for feeling their emotions, not like in the past. The problem is that by trying to chase a feeling of calmness, it doesn't work to eliminate chronic pain and symptoms. And so one starts to get even more confused and lose hope even more, and one gets into a little bit of a negative loop. It's very difficult to keep going and believing in something that isn't giving results, right? It makes sense that one is going to be disheartened when one is doing what everyone says and it's not working. But everyone saying that is because they've got slightly the wrong end of the stick. And I want to tell you things that you can do that will genuinely help you to heal those chronic symptoms and your chronic pain or any chronic illness that you have. There is so much of this advice in the mind-body healing community to calm down, or to turn away from fear, or to stop catastrophizing. That's another one I hear a lot. Stop thinking like it's a catastrophe. To me, that feels very harsh, because every time I got a new symptom or my symptoms would increase or move around, I was genuinely terrified. I would freak out every time. And I am 100% recovered. I was bedbound in a dark room. I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I couldn't read a text. I couldn't watch television. I couldn't do anything. And it went on for years and years and years. So I am slow traveling, living by the beach, working, having an amazing time. And I didn't do this don't catastrophize thing. So I want you to know that you are allowed to get scared when scary things happen. I would think of it more like, as you notice that you're getting scared, what we want to do then is we want to check in with what the thoughts are. Because if something happens in my body that's scary, naturally I'm scared. I don't need to suddenly make myself be calm as the antidote. What I need to do is reassure myself that this might be nothing to be scared of. Now, of course, you need to maybe go and get checked out. I was going for EKGs, or I was getting my heart checked regularly. I was getting things checked because it was terrifying and it regularly felt like I was about to die. So please don't ignore what's happening in you. But if you get something checked out and then you see, oh, it's not what it seems to be, then we can go to the next step, which is realizing it could be neuroplastic. So it could be the brain sending these signals to the system, and you can start to reassure yourself. So one of the ways I like to do this is really just sending a message into my system and saying something like this. You might like to try it and see if it feels good for you. Something like, this is not structural damage in my body. This is not structural damage in my body. Or the other way around might feel better, like, this is a mind-body symptom. This is a mind-body symptom. We can get towards calm and get all the way to calm by connecting through the body, by giving self-soothing, by giving kind self-talk, by slowing down just a fraction, by showing ourselves that we're slowing down a fraction by even one breath. Well done. I'm really glad that you're here and that this work has found you. Please know that you're so welcome here, and subscribe if you'd like to, then you won't miss any future updates. I've created a free nervous system healing roadmap which contains the steps that I took to start recovering completely from chronic illness and cancer. And it also has a private meditations library, so they're ad-free rather than YouTube doing whatever it wants to my meditation, so you can grab that for free below. Let me know any thoughts you have in the comments, and take good care of yourself.